Have you ever felt that there is a code written inside you that no one can decipher? An ancient signal, engraved in every cell of your body, in every beat of your heart, in every breath you take without noticing. It is not madness. It is not a figment of your imagination. It is not just another one of those moments where you feel different from the world around you. It is your God-given heritage being activated, and what is written in it has left the adversary terrified today. There is a truth that has been buried for centuries, hidden in silence behind veils that humanity has learned to accept as normality. But you could never fit within those veils, could you? You always knew, even without words, that there was something written in you that made you different. Something that pulsed when everyone slept, something that spoke in your dreams, something that revealed itself in the moments when you almost gave up. And yet, some invisible force pulled you back. That something has a name, that something has an origin, and that something is exactly what the adversary has spent his life trying to erase from your recognition, because your God-given heritage is not an empty mystical concept. It is not a metaphor. It is not poetry. It is the real mark, engraved on your spirit even before your body was formed, even before your name was chosen. It is the seal of the chosen, and the chosen have always been those who came with a mission greater than the world is prepared to endure. Think of all the times you realized your life did not follow the pattern of others. The coincidences that were not coincidences, the meetings that seemed orchestrated, the losses that hurt more than they should have, the victories that happened when everything said it was impossible. Look back now. Look with open eyes. Can you see the design? Can you identify the pattern? There is an invisible line stitching every event of your life, and that line is exactly your God-given heritage in action, leading you, protecting you, preparing you for the exact moment you are living right now. Because what is happening at this very instant is not a phase. It is not a difficult period. It is not just another chapter of your story. It is the activation. And when the activation begins, the adversary trembles, because he knows better than you what is written inside you. And what if everything you have always felt, this sense of estrangement, this search, this silent certainty that there is something greater, were exactly the proof that you are not an observer of this story, but a central piece of it? That is why I have prepared the powerful e-handbook for you, the Guardian's Family Protection Guide. This e-handbook is not just reading. It is the key that decodes everything that is written in your God-given heritage and that the adversary has tried to erase from your eternal memory. It shows you who is playing against you in the invisible plane, what weapons they have tried to use to silence what pulses in every cell of yours, and how to activate the spiritual inheritance that is part of your original code. It reveals the rules they never told you about how the shadow realm identifies the chosen, how it tries to neutralize them before full activation, and how your entire lineage can be shielded when you recognize what is written inside you. This e-handbook was created for those who have awakened enough to know that your God-given heritage carries much more than they taught, and who are ready to go beyond the shallow answers the world offers. The link is pinned in the first comment at the top of the comments. But I must warn you, this type of content is rarely available for very long. What is on these pages challenges narratives that have always tried to hide from the chosen exactly who they are, and there have already been real attempts to silence this knowledge before. Do not wait for the right moment. The right moment is now, chosen one, because you did not arrive at this text by accident. Download it now and comment below. I am chosen, and I will download the e-handbook. Now that you have decided to act, the next truth I will reveal to you will be the final blow against this oppression that has tried to stifle what is written inside you. There is a spiritual principle that few can bear when they hear it for the first time. The adversary does not pursue those he has already dominated. The adversary does not waste energy, does not send legions of attack, does not set up invisible sieges around people he already controls. He pursues exactly those he fears. And if your life has been a constant battlefield, if you have been the target of envy, of inexplicable attacks, of sudden illnesses, of sabotaged relationships, of doors that closed mysteriously when they were almost open, then stop crying and start understanding. You are being pursued because you are a threat. And you are a threat because what is written in your God-given heritage carries an authority that terrifies the shadow realm. Think about it for a moment. Why do so many people live lukewarm lives, without great spiritual challenges, without notable battles, while you seem to be dragged from one storm to another? Why do you feel the weight of the world on your back, even when there is apparently no reason? Why do you wake up in the middle of the night with that strange feeling of presence, of vigilance, that something is watching you? It is not paranoia. It is not mental imbalance. It is spiritual recognition. The shadow realm recognizes the mark on you even before you recognize it in yourself. And that is why there is a silent war set up around your life, a war you did not ask for, but were called to win. Your God-given heritage carries codes that the adversary knows very well. Codes of ancestral authority, codes of prophetic seal, codes of generational breaking, codes that, when activated, demolish fortresses that were built in your lineage for decades, perhaps centuries. And you were born to activate these codes, not to survive them, not to spend your life feeling their weight without understanding, but to activate, and to transform this activation into victory, into liberation, into purpose. Every time you chose not to give up, even when everything screamed for you to give up, you activated a layer of your God-given heritage. Every time you forgave someone who destroyed you, even without understanding why, you activated a layer. Every time you felt a supernatural compassion for those who hurt you, every time you had a dream that seemed to carry a message, every time you were taken by an inexplicable certainty that you were on the right path, even when everyone said the opposite, you were activating what is written in you, and that is why the adversary is terrified today, because the activation has reached a point of no return. That is why I have prepared the powerful e-handbook for you, the Guardian's Family Protection Guide. This e-handbook is the complete decoding of everything that is being activated inside you at this very moment. It reveals layer by layer what the adversary knows about your God-given heritage and that he hoped you would never know. It teaches you how to recognize every code that pulses in you, how to protect them from attempts at spiritual blocking, and how to transform the activation into a wave of liberation that reaches your entire family, breaking chains that had been passing from generation to generation even before you were born. It explains why some lives are constant targets, while others pass almost unscathed, and teaches you how to correctly interpret every attack you have suffered as a confirmation of what is written in you and not as a sentence of failure. The link is pinned in the first comment at the top of the comments, but know that this content is being monitored. What is written on these pages directly confronts the narratives that have tried to keep the chosen confused about their own identity, and there are forces actively working so that this knowledge does not reach those who need it. There have already been real attempts to silence this material before. Do not delay. Do not wait for tomorrow. The exact moment is now. Chosen one. Download it now and comment below, "I am chosen and I will download the e-handbook." This is your act of faith. It is your response to the call that is pulsing inside you. And now that you are positioning yourself, the next revelation I will deliver to you is what will break once and for all the veil that covered your spiritual identity. There is a list of signs that the shadow realm tries to hide from the chosen their entire lives. Signs that, when you recognize them, change forever the way you see yourself. And the first of them is a pattern so precise that it often scares those who recognize themselves in it. The persistent feeling of not belonging. You have never completely fit in anywhere, have you? Even surrounded by people, you feel alone. Even in lively conversations, there is always a part of you observing, perceiving layers that others do not perceive. Even in the simplest joys, there is a silent melancholy that seems to remind you of something you cannot name. This non-belonging is not a defect of your personality. It is the mark of those who came from a higher place to fulfill a mission on this plane. You do not belong because you were not made to belong to the pattern. You were made to break it. The second sign is amplified spiritual sensitivity. You feel the energies of places before understanding why they affect you. You feel the hidden intentions behind smiles. You know when someone is lying, even without having proof. You wake up with that restlessness in your chest that is later confirmed by some event of the day. This is not nervousness. It is discernment, activated by your God-given heritage. The third sign is the disproportionate attacks throughout your life. Whenever you were close to an important victory, something happened to try to bring you down. Whenever you approached a greater purpose, a betrayal, a loss, a crisis appeared that seemed to want to paralyze you. It is not bad luck, it is strategy. The shadow realm calculates the movements of the chosen with a precision that scares, because it knows that each of your victories in the spiritual sphere generates waves of rupture in the invisible plane. The fourth sign is the recurring presence of significant dreams. You do not just dream, you receive. Dreams that carry messages, warnings, symbols, people you have not seen for years appearing with specific meanings. You wake up sometimes crying, sometimes in silent adoration, sometimes with an absolute certainty about something you need to do. This is spiritual communication passing through the doors that are open in your God-given heritage. The fifth sign is the capacity for internal regeneration. You have gone through situations that should have destroyed you, losses that should have broken you, betrayals that should have hardened you forever, and yet even with scars, you continue breathing, continue feeling, continue loving. This is not human strength. This is your God-given heritage, operating a renewal that comes from a source beyond this plane. The sixth sign is the magnetism you awaken, both positive and negative. People approach you without understanding why. Tell stories they have never told anyone. Feel peace in your presence. And at the same time, other people feel an inexplicable rejection, an envy without apparent reason, an almost compulsive desire to diminish you. You are not dividing the room by accident. You are manifesting a light that automatically reveals who is aligned with it and who is in opposition to it. And the seventh sign, the most important of all, is this inner certainty that there is a greater mission. Even in the darkest moments, even when everything seemed lost, even when life seemed meaningless, something inside you refused to accept defeat as the final destination. That something is your God-given heritage screaming that there is still something to be fulfilled. And today, chosen one, that something is reaching the point of manifestation. That is why I have prepared the powerful e-handbook for you, the Guardian's Family Protection Guide. This e-handbook is the complete map of each of these signs that the adversary tried to disqualify as if they were just your eccentricities. It teaches you exactly how to recognize the active signs of your God-given heritage, how to interpret dreams, how to identify attacks, how to shield sensitivity, how to transform non-belonging into authority, and especially how to protect your entire family using these signs as a compass and as a shield. It details each of the 7 marks of the chosen that they tried to convince you to call defects, and shows how they, when aligned, form the exact design of what is written in your God-given heritage since before the beginning. This is not just any content. It is a war manual written for those who have already understood that they are on a battlefield. The link is pinned in the first comment at the top of the comments. But listen carefully. What is in this e-handbook touches on truths that they have always wanted to keep in the dark. There have been several attempts to silence this knowledge, precisely because it frees the chosen from a purposeful confusion that had been accumulating for generations. This material can go offline at any moment. Do not rely on having more time. The time for waiting is over. Download it now and comment below, "I am chosen and I will download the e-handbook." Make this comment your public declaration that you have recognized what is written in you. Now that you have sealed this commitment, prepare yourself. Because the next part of this revelation will show exactly what the adversary discovered about you in the last few hours and why he is in a panic. There is a detail about spiritual warfare that will forever change the way you position yourself in the face of battles. The adversary does not have omniscience. He does not know everything. He observes, he studies, he calculates. But he does not have direct access to what is written in your God-given heritage. He can only read the external signs. He can only see what you manifest. And that is exactly why he has spent his life trying to keep you on low frequencies. Because while you are paralyzed by fear, by shame, by guilt, by doubt, he can keep a diminished version of you visible before the spiritual spheres. But the moment you begin to awaken, the moment you begin to speak from another place, the moment your internal frequency rises, What is written in your God-given heritage begins to leak into the invisible. And the adversary reads this like a real-time report. He reads it and trembles, because he discovers at that instant exactly who he has in front of him. You are a dormant throne that is waking up. You are an ancient sentence that is being uttered for the first time. You are an authority that was sealed and that is breaking every seal from within. And the worst from his point of view, you are not alone. When your God-given heritage activates, it fires codes that resonate in other chosen ones around you. Your liberation activates chain liberations. Your healing opens doors for healings in other lives. Your authority gives permission for others to rise. That is why the adversary is not just afraid of you. He is terrified of what you are capable of unleashing. This is the reason for so many attacks against your mind. The heavy thoughts that come from nowhere, the repeated self-sabotages, the old memories that insist on returning to paralyze you, the internal voices that say you are not capable, that you do not deserve it, that you will never succeed. These voices are not yours. They were planted. And the closer you get to your full activation, the more these voices intensify, because they are the last resort of a desperate enemy trying to keep you below what you are. But today, now, at this very instant, as you hear these words, something is happening. You are feeling it, aren't you? A wave of recognition, a stirring in your chest, a desire to cry for no apparent reason, a chill that goes up your spine, perhaps even a strange physical sensation, as if something were adjusting inside you. This is your God-given heritage responding to the call. This is the seal being broken. This is the awakening happening in real time. And the adversary is watching, and he does not know what to do. There is an authority that comes with awakening, and this authority is not built by human effort. It is inherited. It is already inside you. It just needed to be recognized. The difference between the chosen one who lives in defeat and the chosen one who lives in victory is not talent. It is not money. It is not luck. It is not circumstance. It is recognition. It is the conscious acceptance of what is written in your God-given heritage. When you accept, you activate. When you activate, you manifest. When you manifest, you shift the invisible. And the invisible responds. People who were going to betray you will begin to expose themselves even before they act. The traps set against you will begin to crumble even before you notice them. The doors that seem definitively closed will begin to open in sequence. The meetings that were predestined will begin to appear with the precision of a clock. Your family will be touched by this wave. People who seemed lost will begin to return. Conflicts that seemed eternal will begin to dissolve. Children will feel the new peace. Adolescents will approach with questions they have never asked before. Elderly parents will have moments of surprising spiritual lucidity, all because you activated what is written in you. But there is a caution that the awakening chosen one needs to take, and this caution is absolutely indispensable. Activation attracts counterattacks, not the disorganized counterattacks that came before. Those were just tests. The counterattacks that come with full activation are strategic. They are calculated. They are directed. They come from the most unexpected places, from a close person who suddenly changes behavior, from an insistent dream that tries to plant doubt, from a recurring thought that tries to undermine your certainty. And it is exactly at this moment that many chosen ones retreat. They begin to question the activation. They begin to think they are imagining things. They begin to consciously deactivate what has awakened, returning to the low frequency that the adversary knew well. Do not do that, chosen one. Do not retreat. The counterattack is the confirmation that you hit the target. The noise of the adversary is the proof that he is losing control. The intensity of the attacks is proportional to the size of the blessing that is coming. There is a layer of your God-given heritage that is only activated when you cross the storm of reactivation without retreating, and it is in this layer that the heritage of generations dwells. It is in this layer that the codes of ancestral prosperity, of family healing, of definitive breaking of curses, of territorial protection over your descendants are found. You are not just fighting for yourself. You are fighting for those who came before, for the ancestors who tried but failed to break the chain, and for those who will come after, for the children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren who will inherit the victory you are about to manifest. Every time you stand tall, even with tears, even with exhaustion, even with the desire to give up, you are paving the way for entire generations. There is a sacred weight to this moment, and there is a gigantic privilege, because not everyone was called to this battle. Not everyone has what is written in you. Only some were selected before time, marked before birth, separated for this exact historical instant in which you are living. And you are here, hearing these words, feeling the confirmation, recognizing every sign. This is not a coincidence. This is a summons. And this summons has a specific structure that the adversary knows and that he tries to hide from you until the last second. There is a spiritual sequence that unfolds in the life of every genuine chosen one, and whoever understands this sequence gains a spiritual advantage that completely changes the game. The first phase is estrangement. It is that time in your life when you feel that something is wrong with you, that you do not fit in with the world, that you are different in a way that no one understands. You went through this phase. Perhaps it lasted years. Perhaps it started in childhood. But it fulfilled its role. It separated you so that you would not be contaminated by the pattern. The second phase is persecution. When the adversary identifies that there is a chosen one in formation, he sets up a siege. Enmities appear, obstacles multiply, losses arrive in chains. This was the moment when you were almost destroyed, and it was not by your strength that you survived. It was by the seal of your God-given heritage, operating a protection you could not explain. The third phase is breaking. It is the phase where everything you thought was your identity crumbles. Old beliefs fall. Old certainties dissolve. You find yourself without ground, without direction, without recognition. This phase is the most painful, but it is necessary. Because what is written in your God-given heritage cannot be activated on a false structure. The false structure needs to be demolished so that the original structure appears. The fourth phase is silence. It is that strange period when it seems that no one hears your prayers, that no one responds to your requests, that the sky turned to bronze over you. This silence is purposeful. It is the spiritual womb where your new identity is being formed. It is not abandonment. It is gestation. The fifth phase is recognition, and it is exactly here that many chosen ones are at this very moment. It is the phase where suddenly, out of nowhere, something begins to make sense. Connections appear. Content like this that you are consuming now begins to cross your path. People begin to talk to you about topics you have never discussed. Signs begin to multiply. You are in this phase. You are being awakened to recognize. The sixth phase is full activation. It is when what is written in your God-given heritage begins to manifest visibly. Your mouth begins to speak words that change realities. Your hands begin to operate transformations. Your presence begins to shift atmospheres. And others begin to notice, some with admiration, others with fear. The seventh phase is multiplication. It is when you are no longer alone. Other chosen ones begin to gather around you, magnetically, as if a spiritual gravity attracted them to your field. And together, you form something greater, a silent army of the awakened that is changing the course of invisible events. These are the 7 phases of the chosen one, and you need to know which one you are in, because each phase requires a different posture. Ignoring this structure is giving an advantage to the adversary. Knowing this structure is walking with a map in hand, while others stumble in the dark. There is still a truth about your God-given heritage that needs to be said clearly. It carries specific information about your family lineage, information that the adversary has used against you for decades, perhaps centuries. Each family has spiritual patterns that repeat. Have you noticed? The same types of illness passing from generation to generation. The same types of abusive relationships repeating among cousins, uncles, nephews. The same financial difficulties, the same sorrows, the same emotional crises. This is not just genetics. This is a spiritual chain that was forged at some point in your family's history, perhaps by a word spoken in anger, by a spiritual alliance made in secret, by a broken promise with consequences not realized. And this chain had been passed on as an inheritance until you. But you are the breaking point. It is written in your God-given heritage that you would be the last link, that with you this chain would break, that starting with you, a new lineage would begin, a free lineage, a protected lineage, a lineage walking in purpose. And that is why your family has been the focus of so many attacks. That is why it seems that, whenever you get close to peace, someone in your family enters a crisis. That is why feeling the weight of what is happening to your loved ones is practically a constant in your life. The adversary is trying to break you through the most sensitive side, because he knows that if he can paralyze you emotionally through your family, he also paralyzes the breaking of the chain that you were designated to operate. But there is a strategy that changes everything, and this strategy is what separates the awakened chosen one from the confused chosen one. The awakened chosen one understands that family protection begins with the full activation of their own God-given heritage. It is no use trying to fix others while you are still on a low frequency. It is no use having intercession without foundation, prayer without identity, battle without recognition of your own authority. When you position yourself as what is written in you, you automatically cover your own. Your house enters under coverage, your children enter under coverage, your parents enter under coverage. Your entire lineage begins to drink from the new spiritual order that is manifesting through you. This is the ripple effect. This is the inheritance that is reversed, and that is exactly what the adversary has spent his life trying to hide from you. There is one last truth that needs to be delivered before this transmission ends, a truth that many chosen ones spend their lives without hearing, and that changes everything when it is finally understood. Your God-given heritage was not activated by chance just now. There is a specific window of manifestation in your life, a precise period in which everything that was being prepared behind the scenes begins to materialize in an accelerated way. And this window is today. It is this phase that you are living in. The next few months will not be like the previous ones. The next meetings will not be like the old ones. The next opportunities will not have the texture of those you have already known. There is a spiritual acceleration underway, and whoever knows how to position themselves within it reaps harvests that took decades to mature. Whoever does not position themselves misses the window and needs to wait for another phase of preparation, which can take years. Do not waste this window, chosen one. Do not treat it as just another moment. Do not allow fatigue, doubt, or familiarity with the struggle to prevent you from recognizing what is happening now. What is written in your God-given heritage is pulsing with an intensity it has never reached before. The barriers that tried to contain you are cracking. The ancient seals are breaking. The negative sentences that weighed on your lineage are being annulled. And the adversary is terrified because he knows that once this phase is complete, he loses access, loses permission, loses territory. You're about to recover everything that was taken. The health they tried to steal is being restored in the invisible dimensions, even before it manifests in the body. The finances that seemed stalled are being unlocked at deep levels before they appear visibly. The relationships that seemed broken are being stitched in spiritual fabrics before you see the result. Everything is moving. Everything is accelerating. Everything is converging for your manifestation. And you only need one thing: conscious persistence, standing tall, staying vigilant, staying grateful even before seeing, staying in the frequency of expectation, not in the frequency of despair. Every positive word you say in this period multiplies in disproportionate proportions. Every gesture of faith weighs tons in the invisible world. Every decision aligned with what is written in you opens doors in corridors you didn't even know existed. Continue, continue, continue. And when they ask how you did it, how you crossed over, how you won what seemed impossible, you will just smile. Because you will know it was not you. It was what was written in you since before the beginning. It was the seal of the chosen fulfilling its purpose. It was the realm of light operating what it always operated through its own, in every generation, in every awakening, in every manifestation. And you are part of it. You are a link in this eternal chain. You are a continuation of this story. That is why the adversary is terrified today. That is why the sky is celebrating. That is why your life will never be the same from this exact moment that you recognized what is written in you. And that is why I have prepared the powerful e-handbook for you, the Guardian's Family Protection Guide. This e-handbook is the direct complement to everything you have just received in this transmission. It deepens each of the 7 phases of the Chosen One, teaches you to identify exactly which one you are in, and guides you step by step on how to cross each one without retreating. It decodes the spiritual patterns of your family lineage, shows you how to identify the chains that had been passing from generation to generation, and teaches you how to operate the definitive break using the authority that is written in your God-given heritage. It is the protection tool you need to shield your house, your children, your parents, your siblings, and all your spiritual descendants. It also reveals how to recognize the exact window of your manifestation, how to avoid the strategic counterattacks of the full activation phase, and how to transform every sign of your God-given heritage into a conscious combat weapon. This e-handbook is not content for the curious. It is a combat manual for chosen ones who have already recognized their calling and are ready to operate from their true identity. The link is pinned in the first comment at the top of the comments. But listen to this last warning. What is in this e-handbook touches on truths that have never been authorized to circulate freely. There have already been real attempts to take this material offline. This content challenges narratives that many forces have an interest in keeping intact, and the window of availability can close at any moment. Do not rely on tomorrow. Tomorrow is a promise that no one guarantees you. Today is what you have. And today, now, at this very instant that you finished hearing these words, is your moment to seal the pact with what is written in you. Download it now and comment below. I am chosen, and I will download the e-handbook. Make this comment your milestone. Make this comment your public declaration before the invisible. Make this comment the confirmation that you are no longer an observer, but a central actor in this transition that has already begun. You did not arrive here by accident, chosen one. Every word of this transmission was led to you. Every minute of this listening was orchestrated for this moment. And what is written in your God-given heritage is already responding. It is already manifesting. It is already changing the game. The adversary who was terrified when this transmission started is now in total panic. Because you are no longer the same. You will never be the same again. And he knows it. Lift your head, chosen one. What seemed like the end was only the beginning. And what is written in you is about to manifest in a way that will surprise even yourself.